The offseason appears to be here, and Auburn's got one major question to tackle.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We're dapping it up with the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, as we talk about, well, we're really not going to talk that much about the Iron Bowl. We're going to look ahead to the offseason, Darrell, now that it's here. This coaching staff's got to finish out this portal or this recruiting class. We'll discuss that, as well as how they need to beef up the trenches on both sides of the football. But there are a bunch of burning questions, but the one that fans, and maybe the one that matters the most, is certainly what people care the most about. And it is Auburn's starting quarterback currently on the roster, or are they going to have to go out and get a guy in the transfer portal? And all signs point to that guy not currently being on the roster, with Peyton Thorne running out of eligibility last night. It doesn't seem like the answer is here unless you think Deuce Knight could be a day one guy. I don't think this coaching staff is expecting him to do that. I don't think this coaching staff thinks that Hank Brown or Holden Geriner is the guy next year. And so what kind of quarterback is Auburn able to attract via the portal, Darrell?
It's the single most important portal decision pursuit. It's a program changer. It's a job preserver. In my opinion, you have to open up the checkbook and you have to go get somebody that can get you 3 or 4 more wins in the ledger. And that is not pie in the sky. That is not unattainable. You look at what Miami did with Cam Ward.
Yeah,
and Miami won 4 games last year, and they were in line to be in the college football playoff. The kid at Syracuse, they went out and got a quarterback. He improved them 3 or 4 games. It can happen
from Ohio
yeah.
State. Yep.
So it can happen, and it needs to happen, and it will happen. And the bottom line is you've got to go get somebody that you say, okay, this guy has a potential maybe to play at the next level. Mm-hmm. After he leaves Auburn, it can be a 1-year guy. It can be a 2-year guy if he's that special and he's starting already and has some years of eligibility left. You talked about that in the past. But it's got to be a program changer. If you get a guy that's like that and you still don't see the improvement that you need to see and you don't make that leap, then there's deeper issues that we can talk about at a different time. But I think right now in the moment, it's fixable at the quarterback position if you get a game changer, if you get a guy that can absolutely get it done in the red zone and, basically is that dude. And they're out there. They're out there, but Auburn's going to have to pay large to do it.
Well, and the encouraging thing is it sounds like Auburn is ready to pay. They are ready to be a competitor for those quarterbacks that are in the top tier of the quarterbacks that are expected to enter the transfer portal. And that's all you can ask for. I mean, if you're Hugh Freeze, you got to think that you regret, to some extent, how you handled the portal this past offseason, where it sounded like there were several guys that they were close to adding and then ultimately didn't for one reason or another. Some of it may have been price. Some of it may have been personality situations. Some of it may have been, okay, we had something that was agreed upon, and then you changed your mind and you asked for more money at the last second, and just based off of principle, you say no. We've heard all of those things, Darrell.
And they're true. They're absolutely true.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they've been pretty much all but confirmed at this point by different folks, but you can't let any of that stand in your way at this point. Now, who enters the portal? Who do you actually have a chance to go out and get? I guess that's the biggest concern at this point. Like, is there a Cam Ward level quarterback that's going to enter the portal? I don't know. And, that's kind of the thing where you got to think that the coaches that have access to, information and relationships with folks throughout all of college football, that's going to be more of something that they're going to have to tackle head on. There's only so much we can know from the outside looking in.
Well, let's just be transparent. Let's go ahead and throw out some scenarios, and you tell me if any of the 3 gentlemen I'm about to mention would have made Auburn's season different. First of all, Let's go back to 2 years ago. which was not Auburn's fault, but I think you and I would agree, and a lot of people could confirm, Grayson McCall was all but set up to come to Auburn. It was a done deal. He had committed. He wanted to be here. But there was a transcript problem with a major or whatever it was that Auburn didn't offer, so he couldn't come as a grad transfer, whatever. I think a lot of people were very excited when it looked imminent that Grayson McCall was going to be Auburn's quarterback 2 years ago. How does the last 2 seasons look, I wonder? If he's here and stays healthy, probably different. He was dynamic. He was a gamer. He probably is a little bit different. Cam Ward was in the conversation. That was definitely a situation where Auburn didn't want to pay what Miami paid. Riley Leonard was a kid that Auburn thought they had, period. Thought it was a done deal last year. Everyone was excited. Riley Leonard was coming to Auburn. Some things broke. Some things fell through there. I'll ask you, if any of those 3 guys, Grayson McCall for 2 years, Riley Leonard or Cam Ward for 1 year this year, how different does Auburn's season look?
Cam Ward, yes. Cam Ward, 100%. I think you're talking about a totally different situation right now. I mean, I don't think Riley Leonard's been great.
He has been called a pro. Nick Saban on game day yesterday attributed Notre Dame having a chance in the playoff and making the playoff because of the way Riley Leonard is playing. He said it with his own lips.
I mean, if that's the case, then sure.
I guess the only reason why I'm asking you these questions are not hypothetical. I think it's trying to prove our point to how important this decision could be and how program changing it could be. And
I'm trying to sprinkle in a little bit of context of you don't always know. You don't always know. Just from a number standpoint, Thorne's numbers are better than Riley Leonard's. Just as I quickly look at this, how many games did he miss this year?
Leonard?
Doesn't look like he missed any. He only threw for 1,900 yards. I don't know. Does that make us way better? I don't know.
I mean, I think you look at quarterback efficiency and QBR too. I mean, how many interceptions does he have?
Yeah, 14 touchdowns, 4 picks. Which obviously Peyton has.
What is his rushing numbers? I think Riley Leonard's got pretty decent rushing numbers too.
Would they have ran it with him?
Yeah,
because they didn't use Thorne's legs enough. Why would they use Leonard's legs that much?
That's a good point. Maybe because they thought he could do it a little bit better. Who knows? But
yeah, you mentioned QBR. I think QBR is not a real stat, but his QBR is better. 78.3. Peyton's a 64.4. Peyton threw for 500 more yards, 6 more touchdowns, 4 more picks. So I don't know. Does that get you an extra win? It might get you an extra win, but we're still not happy, right? We're still not we're 6-6 or 7-5. I don't think it really changes. I think there's still questions about can this offense work here if Riley Leonard is here?
That's the difference. Great point. Notre Dame's offense is different. It's a lot more conservative. It's a lot more pro style. It's different. What if Leonard thrived in Hugh Freeze's offense and picked up on it more and didn't make stupid decisions?
I think it's a big what if. A big what if. But also, you look at Riley Leonard's stats and then Notre Dame's schedule, which is laughable. I mean, it's become a meme in college football Twitter of how easy the schedule is. So, I mean, the fact that we're comparing these two stat-wise, I don't know if that's the most even playing field in the world, but whatever. It's an interesting conversation. I do agree with you that I do. Are we better than 5-7? Yes. Are we better than 7-5? I don't know.
Cam Ward, yes, right. Cam Ward, I think it's
the other two. Who'd you say? Riley Leonard and then
Grayson McCall.
Grayson McCall, I don't think would be much different. In hindsight, I don't think it'd be much different. But we don't know. Yeah. So I say all that to say is could they have gotten better than Peyton Thorne? Yes. But was there a guaranteed guy that gets you to 9-3? I don't know. Outside of Cam Ward, I don't know.
A lot of people too want to play revisionist history. What do you think about Pavia if Auburn would have pursued him last year and him going to Auburn instead of Vanderbilt? You think he's a guy that could have added a couple wins?
Yes, I do.
And that's just because he's a gamer. He reminds me of Haynes King. They refuse to lose. That kind of kid, does whatever it takes.
Culturally, you need somebody like that, man.
Yeah, exactly. They're leaders. They're natural leaders. So,
Pavia, I think. Look what he's done at Vandy. There's no reason why he couldn't.
And it's easy to play the hindsight game. I'm only playing it to lay a foundation and to lay the trap to say now we need to understand how we missed and how Auburn missed and how they can't afford to miss this go round.
Yep. So anytime a quarterback enters the portal, we're going to talk about it because it's important.
Yes.
It's important. And I think they add two. I think they add two quarterbacks via the portal. And I think you're going to get an older guy. And I think you're going to get a guy who's maybe a redshirt freshman or redshirt sophomore, maybe a guy that Auburn recruited in the past and it didn't work where he currently is. So we'll see what all that looks like, but we'll have you covered throughout the whole month of December when we talk about transfer portal quarterbacks. They need to beef up the trenches. They need to beef up the trenches, and Auburn is going to have a very different looking offensive and defensive line next year. I think. Let's jump into that in just a moment right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets for any event. Darrell, it doesn't matter if it's for football, basketball, baseball, the theater, whatever it is, Game Time has you covered.
They've got you covered. Go just download the app, go to that event you want to check out. And then if you feel like checking on something that's last minute pricing, check the lightning deals out. All it is a little lightning bolt over the area or section you can purchase. Click on it. You'll be happy you did.
Yep, that's right. They've got all in pricing that you can toggle on so you're not blindsided at the end of the process. They've got the lowest price guarantee. Check it all out. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code Locked On College for $20 off your purchase. Once again, Locked On College for $20 off. What time is it? It's game time. Game time. There it is. Okay, yeah. All right. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Auburn's got to beef up the offensive line. They're got to make about a sneeze.
Bless you.
Offensive tackle, I think, is probably the second most important position that they will need to address over the next few weeks. Darrell.
I think Auburn did fine running the ball. I think their run blocking was good. Case in point, Jarquez Hunter had some nice games. Damari Alston, I think they could do it better on the pass pro side, but it wasn't bad. I didn't feel like it was last year where Peyton Thorne was like running for his life a lot. Where I would like to see it cleaned up is discipline. There were some problems inside the red zone, especially the last few games with false starts and such. So you want to get that cleaned up. That's coaching. A lot of that's coaching. But yeah, a left tackle that's a plug and play guy that's day one starter is important. I think Connor Lew is going to make a big leap again next year.
Yeah, so let's go through this. Percy Lewis is done, out of eligibility.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, probably wouldn't come back even if he did have another year of eligibility. Probably transfer. Jeremiah Wright, your starting right guard, probably coming back. That's at least the feel.
Could be all SEC. Could be all SEC next year.
You think? Oh,
yes.
Next year. Okay,
yes,
sure.
Next year, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. And then you've got Connor Lew. And then I guess you've got Braden Joyner at left guard. So then I think there are a few X factors here. Like, what does Dylan Wade choose to do? He could go pro. He could transfer. He could come back. Dylan Wade, you could tell me all three of those things, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, cool.
If Dylan Wade comes back and you could get a left tackle, then he supplants Joyner at the left guard. Dylan Wade does.
Probably. That's probably true.
Did you mention – we didn't mention Miller, Too Tall Miller either.
No, I hadn't gotten there yet. Miller has another year left.
Yeah.
I don't think Too Tall has been as bad as people discuss him being. I like Xavier Miller, especially with another year of experience. I don't think Xavier Miller was like this liability like some people talk about the tackles being, but he could come back. He could come back as well.
If you go get a guy that's a starting left tackle that has proven it at this high level, that is a starter, and you just go get him, or somebody that's a beast at the group of five, and he could plug and play, and then you move Wade to the guard if he comes back and Miller comes back, then at this point you're just looking for some depth. I mean, you've got Tyler Johnson still, you've got Dylan Renda, you've got
Dylan Senda.
Dylan Senda. I said Renda.
No,
Dylan Senda.
No, it's late.
You've got a couple other guys that could probably back up that are, DeAndre Carter maybe can make an impact next year.
Favor Edwin.
Tackle. Yep. Seth Wilfred, who I think will have a role next year. So you get just two guys, but you get two guys that could potentially start, that are starters. Then everything else I think falls into place behind that.
Yep. So if you add a left tackle and you kind of just do damage control, and if you keep Dylan Wade and you keep Xavier Miller and Jeremiah Wright, I think you're fine. I think you're fine. Because once again, I don't think the offensive line is as bad as people are talking about it being. I think having a quarterback that held onto the football too long and just the overall execution of the offense and the scheme and the play calling, I don't think it helped the offensive line. I say this all the time, more specifically when we talk about the skill positions, but I just don't think any player on offense was put into a situation to succeed by this offensive coaching staff on a consistent basis. The offensive line as a unit, I think, falls into that. So we'll see. On the defensive line, I think it gets very interesting. So let's start with the interior and then kind of work our way out to jack or edge or whatever you want to call it. Gage Keys has another year, but I'd be surprised if he stayed. He was posting cryptic stuff on his Instagram the other day. Gage Keys probably gone. Trill Carter, Phillip Bleedy, Isaiah Reeks, I believe are all out of eligibility. Jason Jones may have another year because he didn't take a red shirt. I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but I don't think any of those guys are here next year. So then you look at Bobby Jamison Travis, who had flashes this year. Fine player. Darren Reed. If you're him, like potential transfer candidate, like I don't think that'd be a crazy thing to say. Malik Blockton, you got to think he's happy. TJ Lindsey, wouldn't be shocked if he transferred.
And we left there. Yeah, and Zacchaeus Walker's gone too.
From eligibility. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that leaves a lot of holes, man. That leaves a lot of holes.
Yeah. And you've got some defensive linemen coming in, but you're going to need to add three guys.
Probably the same amount you added last year. You're losing everybody you added last year, plus a couple guys running out of eligibility. If you're being totally honest, that's exactly what you know. So, yeah, I'd say not 3. I'd say 4.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not pushing back on that at all.
Yeah,
I'm not pushing back on that at all. Then when we scoot out the edge, Jalen McLeod is gone. But you feel good about Keyron and Keldrick, and then Amaris Williams, Jamonta Waller, and Joe Phillips. Assuming you keep all those guys, I don't actually hate that because then you've got guys coming in as well, like J.J. Falk, and then I don't know, we got a lot of edges coming in. Jared Smith is a big one.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, maybe you get one edge defender, but the interior defensive line, priority number 3. And if you wanted to make the case as priority 2, I'd be fine with it. But I just think there's going to be so many. There's going to be a lot of Gage Keys and Trill Carters.
What about
in the portal?
I would interior linebackers and interior defensive inside linebackers. I would say are tied because you lose Mausi, Asante, and Keys. So I mean, you've got Riddick and Gote. Yeah. So I mean, you got to go get two inside linebackers too. I know you got 1 or 2 coming in this recruiting class, but these guys aren't. I mean, you got to get guys that are able to come in and play right away.
Yeah, I mean, you feel good about DeMarcus Riddick. Robert Woodyard's been a guy that every portal window that opens up, we're like, could he leave or not? And then DJ Barber, we didn't see much of him this year.
Yeah.
So, what happens with that? And then, like, could you see some of these DBs that don't play like scoot up a little bit? We heard that a lot with the JUCO safety that didn't play that much.
Robinson. I like him too.
Yeah, there was talk about him possibly playing linebacker. Do they move him up there for playing time purposes? I don't know. But to me, I think you have a lot of your starters on defense.
You need depth.
And Durkin likes to rotate for sure. So that's important.
You need a punter, and you need a punter, and you might need a kicker.
Whew.
I mean, I'm just saying.
And maybe 2 running backs. It's like, goodness gracious.
And a partridge and a pear tree.
And probably an outside receiver.
Yeah. But we're doing it in order of importance, and that's why
I'm just listing.
No, you're right. I mean, we have just listed everything Auburn needs and I think outside receiver and kicker, we're probably down towards the bottom of the.
You need tight ends too.
But you know what else? Yeah, absolutely. You sure do. I think the top 3 stay where they are in order of importance, regardless of what happens when people jump in the portal. But other positions could flip-flop. If you lose 2 running backs in the portal, then by God, that becomes a top 4 need, that kind of thing, depending on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And there are a few positions on defense where, like, I guess the break glass in case of emergency situation is you just go young. Like, if you just wanted to go young at linebacker, like, okay, that's fine. Whatever. If you needed to go young at defensive line from a rotation standpoint, I don't know. They did that at times this year, and it was fine. So.
Yeah.
But some of these you can't. Like, you can't go young at left tackle. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh, man. It's going to be a busy December. No question about it. No question about it.
Next 2 weeks is going to be just absurd.
It's insane.
Yep.
But this week, they've got to lock down and finish out this 2025 recruiting class. And it could signify, like, hey, this next wave of Auburn football is here. It could signify that. They got to finish strong. More on that in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Right now, you can bet $5, Darrell, and get $150 back in bonus bets. I mean, that level of return is insane.
Wall Street would kill for that.
No kidding. No kidding. Right now, you can bet on Auburn basketball. They're plus 900. To win the national championship. Those aren't bad odds.
Wow.
Those aren't bad odds. They're plus 210 to win the SEC regular season. They're plus 175 to make it to the Final Four. FanDuel thinks Auburn is a Final Four basketball.
Very highly of Auburn. Yes, they do.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, head over to FanDuel.com right now. You can bet $150. You can get $150 in bonus bets by just placing that first $5 bet and nailing it. Check it out. FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. Final few minutes on this Sunday edition of Locked On Auburn. I'm not even saying like reaction because we're really not talking about the Iron Bowl because why? Why talk about it? There is one thing that we didn't say in the live stream yesterday that we didn't talk about. Can I just vent real quick or just ask a question?
Sure.
When he threw it away on the 4th down situation.
Oh, my God.
What was that? What was that? He's been playing college football for forever.
Give your guy a chance to make a play.
And guess what? Some receivers.
And not only that, let's say the defender does make a play on the ball. They get the ball at the 3 instead of the 20. Oh, you're throwing it away. Yep.
That was insane. That was insane. And then the clock management at the end of the half was also wild. You call a timeout to give Bama more time if you scored. It was very strange. Very strange. Doesn't matter. It's behind us. We're looking ahead to next year, baby. Let's go. They've got to finish out this signing class. And it seems like everything is solid. Like Donovan Starr was in Tuscaloosa yesterday, but like he was, Bama was playing Auburn, obviously. So like, is that a big deal? I don't know. But Donovan Starr has been one where we've kind of heard his name pop up a ton as like, watch out for him. But it's been like that for months. And it keeps seeming like he's solid on Auburn, but that's one to watch. Obviously we lost Tavares Dice yesterday, the offensive tackle product. So we'll see what happens. If they try to go out and get another offensive lineman,
maybe one that just decommitted from UCF because Gus left.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd call Spencer
Nolan back. Be like, sorry, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
Come back, please. Come back. But outside of that, like, I feel really good about this class still. I don't think Dice was the one that we were kind of hearing, like, Florida's pushing. And then I thought they would just, at this point, you just wait till signing day. And so I guess I'm glad he did it yesterday instead of.
It gives you time to react. It gives you time to go get somebody. And again, give Gus Malzahn a lot of credit. He was recruiting really well at Central Florida, had a lot of 4-star kids. Maybe there's 1 or 2 now that we know, like I said, the offensive tackle decommitted yesterday after Gus announced he was moving on to Florida State to be an offensive coordinator. Maybe you go get that kid, or maybe, there's a surprise in the works of somebody that you might flip. We'll see. That's the good thing about him. I am glad he did that Saturday, because then the coaching staff wasn't left,
Yeah, no, for sure.
blindsided by that.
For sure. All right. Yeah, anybody in this class you're concerned about losing?
Nope.
Okay.
I am not.
Good.
I think this class ends up being a top 3 class when it's all said and done.
You think they add guys that aren't currently committed?
Yes.
Is one of them Naeem offered?
Yes.
So one of them Justice Terry?
Yes.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
That'd be insane.
It would wash away some of it. But at some point, again, I love recruiting, and I know the recruit nicks get in. But at some point, it's got to pay off and translate into wins and proof of concept on the field. And after 3 years, by God, it better start.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to happen next year. For sure. Now, I think that's probably going to be the tone of the offseason, right? Where it's like,
right.
All right, you've built up and you've got all this young talent. Like, can you win with it? Or can you just put a watchable product together on the offensive side of the football?
Yes, that's important. I agree 100%. It's not that you're losing too. It's how Auburn lost a lot during the year that made it unwatchable, made it very frustrating.
I mean, it's been since 2017, so 7 years since we've had an offense where we're like, yes, this looks like a modern college offense.
Yeah, because 19 Auburn won a lot with, I don't know. I mean, Bo Nix was a freshman, made some plays.
Yeah,
it was sloppy.
And Bo had his games, right.
And defensively, Kevin Steele dialed up some good stuff 2019 with Marlon Davidson and Derek Brown. And we did score a lot of points in the Iron Bowl that year. But, yeah, it looked sloppy. It looked
got 2 pick sixes in that game, too.
People have such short memories about how much maligned Bo Nix was for his first 3 years at Auburn. People were clamoring for him to be benched by either Joey Gatewood or even TJ Finley, Harson's first year.
Well, he did get benched for TJ
Finley. He did. People have short memories.
TJ Finley led a game-winning drive. It was a Georgia Southern?
Georgia State.
Goodness gracious, that was wild.
Yeah.
And then Bo has the game of his Auburn career against LSU the next week. That was just insane.
And took off after that. He started really playing really well.
Yeah, and now he's probably going to win for Rookie of the Year for the Broncos. Insane. Good for him. All right, hey, please like the video. Please subscribe. Darrell, how can people check out everything you've got?
Follow me on X, DAP6410. Got an article dropping in the barn, auburn.com today. And then you can follow me on Instagram, Darrell Dapp.
Please like the video. Please subscribe. Once again, we're so close to 20,000 subscribers. That's a ton of people. Thank you for getting us so close to that number. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow. This has been Locked On Auburn.